Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I know a man that signed up recently for his company's 401k, but he's really nervous because he's never run that far before. Think about it. Think about it. Okay, smile. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, Patriots, call in. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning on this Wednesday, September 18th, Zeb at the Ranch, and welcome as we say a big thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And right now they're involved in a great big fall tire sale. Stop in and see them today. Also, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Really nice place. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sweet lady. Lorna, thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very, very much. Right now, it's time for our weather, and the weather brought to you by Roger and the crew over at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right there, yep, you bet, on the Burley Paul Highway. Now, I'm telling you, they've got all the best of tools and equipment for any and all jobs. Maybe you're thinking, we better get some new lawn sprinklers put in, or water lines put in before the ground freezes. Yep, they got all the equipment right there. Long-term, short-term, whatever you need, please, if you're not sure what you need for the project, give them a call. Talk to them, 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the sunshine while we have it because things are going to change. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. Expecting sunny skies and a high of 73 tonight. Showers are going to be moving in right around midnight, about a 50% chance. Winds are going to be picking up as well, just a little bit. Low 44 tomorrow. Definitely rain showers, about a 70% chance, only warming up to a high of 58. Those rain showers are going to continue for tomorrow night with a low of 44. 50% chance of rain showers for Friday with a high of 58. Hopefully it's going to be clearing out a little bit for Friday night with a low of 38. Then by the weekend, sunny skies and warming up to the mid-60s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Okay. We'll take a couple of days of kind of gnarly weather. Thank you very much, Gina. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello. They get there at about 7 o'clock in the morning to better serve you at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Yep, on the Burley Paul Highway. And call that number. They'd love to hear from you, 678-3122. Have you... I don't know what I did this morning, but I had a tube of Gorilla Glue in my hand, okay? And I set it down. I can't find it. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, you're getting older now. I had it right here at my desk. And I was going to fix my headsets that have a small crack in the plastic, and I set it down, and it's nowhere to be found. I know somebody's going to call me and say, you old fogey, you can't keep track of anything. Probably true. Caller, stand by. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And their telephone number, 678-0459. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and I mean all. They've got it all with all these years of experience, well over almost 7 decades of experience and service to you. They are the best. Opening at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I got a chuckle at you. You know, one of the famous things is when you lose your glasses and you cannot find them.
Yeah.
And you look everywhere and you tell your wife, did she misplace them? You know, you make all kinds of excuses. And she says, why don't you look on your face?
Yeah, you know, and either that or on the top of your head. I wear reading glasses, and I am forever perching them on top of my head and walking around forgetting about everything, and I remember distinctly what you're talking about. Not many months ago, I was yelling and screaming, who took my glasses off of this chair right next to my chair? And I looked around, and she said, well, they're on your head.
Yeah, that is so true. But what I really called about was, you know, Zeb, you've always told things the way you believed. You didn't placate to somebody just because it may tarnish your reputation as an advertiser. You know, and I talked to you about this once before because I was somewhat that way. I didn't want to offend anybody because it would affect my business. But if you're going to be in a public election, whether it be a commissioner or mayor or whatever, you got to put those things aside and tell it like it is.
Well, and I respect you for saying that, Keith, but my philosophy has been, and there have been those that think they know all about this business and how to run a talk show. And I remember vividly somebody years ago said to me, oh, well, you don't want to make anybody mad. You just want to create the story and let them talk about it. No, that's about as boring as eating vanilla ice cream 24/7. And my philosophy is if you're going to have a talk show and it's going to be an opinion show, you've got to be honest and you've got to have the facts. And if you can't stand behind that and someone is offended, be they an advertiser, a sponsor, or whatever, for telling the truth, I really maintain that I don't want them as a sponsor anyway.
Well, I got the weekly mailer yesterday, and when I looked at it, there's 2-page full of a comment from Darren Moon, who is a trustee on the school board. This man tells it like it is. He's not concerned about whether you like him or not. He's there to do a job, and he is the best. And I admire him to no end for having the courage to come out and tell it like it is.
I appreciate that. Listen, I've got to get some commercials on, but you're never going to hear me speculate with something that I absolutely know nothing about. There are topics. I think, was it Monday somebody called in with something, and I said, no, I haven't read about it, and I'm not going to converse about it until I find out more. And you called me also earlier this week, and I said, I'm not going to put it on the air until I find out more information. I will not do that. And I'm going to stand fast to those goals.
And I appreciate it. Even though it's something I might like to say on the air, I like to run it past you before I do it, unless I know the facts myself. And then I'm just like you. I will stick to it till the end.
All right. Well, Keith, I appreciate your diligence and also your friendship. Thank you very much. I got to run pay some bills. Thank you. All right. Calls are welcome and appreciated. Hey, by the way, if you are hungry, I know that you need to stop into Denny's restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. You know, a little bowl of cereal at 4 o'clock in the morning doesn't really cut the cake right about now. I could put teeth marks in this microphone. And I love Denny's restaurant. I love their new menu. I love all the choices for breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, anytime, all the time, with the friendly people serving you. What are you waiting for? They've got 2 locations. Denny's restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Wow, you're going to have a great time. Enjoy the food at America's Diner, Denny's restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we'll be over there next Thursday on the 26th. Don't forget that, Denny's restaurant. By the way, if you've got animals, and I don't care what they are, I mean, like I say, you might have a whole herd of dairy cattle, horses, whatever, itty-bitty kitty cat. You want to make sure they stay healthy. Well, Dr. Bill and the crew at Ark Animal Hospital, you know, those are nice people over there. Really nice. At 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. And now, by the way, don't forget about your fall vaccinations for all your animals, and also especially for your puppy dogs. As they said, there's been some cases of pyro around the area, and you do not want Fido to get that at all. No. Contact Ark Animal Hospital today over in Hayburn, and the number 678-1177. 678-1177, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, I'll be there momentarily. I got to tell everybody about the Purple Shovel Market. The what? Yes, the Purple Shovel Market. It's an outdoor market connected to the Nature Nursery at 120 East Highway 81 in Burley, across from the Burley Golf Course. And this Saturday, they are going to have a ripping good time with all kinds of unique antiques and crafts and food vendors and unique finds of all kinds. You stop in and check it out from 10 a.m. to 4 this Saturday, September 21st, at the Purple Shovel Market with the Nature Nursery on Highway 81 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Boy, I was impressed the way that Lewandowski handled that kangaroo court he was dealing with yesterday. I think the Republican Party is starting to get themselves together to stand up against this bunch.
You took the words right out of my mouth for my first story this morning. You've heard the old adage, when fools rush in. Well, they did yesterday at the House hearing as the Democrats, in their probe for silly information about impeachment, they ran into a human buzzsaw. Corey Lewandowski, he can say this morning unabashedly that he made fools of all the Democrats, and it was obvious.
I think the Democrats are finding out there's a chink in their armor. The Republicans know about it, and they're going to go for the throat.
It was so... I enjoyed it. Deanne and I, after we got off the program, we had lunch and we started watching the proceedings, and we watched most of it. I mean, I absolutely was enthralled with it. It was tremendous, even though it was 5 hours of nothing. What it did to me was stand the Democrats back in the corner and say, listen, if you don't have any information, shut up and go away.
Oh, absolutely. When I saw that thing, I said, boy, the Republicans have the combination now to put these guys to sleep, because they were just nothing but a bunch of misinformed loudmouths.
Yeah, totally.
Trying to trap him.
I'm glad we're on the same page, and you saw the same thing I did. Tony, God bless you, and Mary, thank you for your call this morning.
You're welcome, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Thank you. You know, that hearing yesterday, I broke out in laughter. I broke out in laughter quite a few of the times because whether it was Sheila Jackson Lee or whether it was Jerry Nadler, Lewandowski put the Democrats in the clown spotlight. It was absolutely funny, but the greatest line that was very subtle, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but please call me if you did, was when Eric Swalwell, congressman from California, started asking questions and getting snide with Lewandowski. Lewandowski looked back and he said, "Thank you, President Swalwell." I loved it because of a very ill-fated and not really worthwhile attempt for Swalwell to run for the presidency on the Democratic ticket. And Swalwell made a buffoon out of himself in the short time that he was running. And Lewandowski looked at him and said, "Thank you, President Swalwell." And I just about fell out of my lazy boy. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service, and they do the jobs that you and I kind of put off and say, well, we'll take care of it next Monday. Well, we'll take care of it next Wednesday. Well, we'll take care of it maybe a month from now. Well, there's some things you can't put off, like septic tank pumping and liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines clean. Got to do it now. Call Dino's Septic Service at 436-6526 or 678-1638. I mean, fast, fair, friendly service. They really care. They do a great job for you. With a big truck that says smells cargo on the way, Dino's Septic Service, you get a hold of them today. Don't forget, too, on Mondays at 8:30, every Monday, we give away a dozen cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. If you can answer the trivia question, you are going to enjoy your favorite cookies. Absolutely. Sophie's Chatterbox. What a restaurant, what a bakery at 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I tell you what, the desperation, you can taste it. You can taste it in the air. They're just at their wits' end. It doesn't matter. They don't know what to do. Remember,
Randy, I'm going to have to ask you. I don't know where you are or what phone you're on, but you've got to speak up and hold that phone closer, please.
Okay, I got a new phone. I don't know, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Hold still. Don't move.
I'm sorry. Well, their desperation is just palpable. They're so desperate they don't know what to do. Remember about a month ago, I think the ruling elite, George Soros and others, tried to crash the economy, and the stock market dropped, 800 points, and they thought it was going to domino, and then it picked right up. And then over the weekend, Iran has supposedly attacked Saudi Arabia oil fields. Well, Saudi Arabia can't afford to have anybody thinking they can't deliver the oil. Well, yesterday on the news, on Monday they were freaking out about the price of oil going sky high. And then yesterday morning, I guess on Fox, they said the price of oil was dropping. There was a term they used, and it meant it was dropping fast and hard. And so, see, nothing they do, it doesn't matter whether it's the ruling elite, it's the Democrats, it's whoever. They can't, there's nothing you can't touch. Teflon, Donald J. Trump.
I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of that congressional hearing yesterday, but honestly, there's been great comedies on television. The Dick Van Dyke Show in the past, and of course, Laugh-In. But this thing yesterday, this hearing, absolutely, I giggled harder at that show yesterday for 5 hours that was going on back in Washington, D.C. than I ever giggled at any sitcom.
Well, nobody cares. They quit caring a long time ago. And so here that Nadler, he's about 4'8"?
No, I think you're being kind. He's probably about 4'7" with a 1-inch vertical jump.
And he walks like a penguin. And they're just so desperate. It's a shame. And like we say, I mean, who's going to run against them? And who's going to win? Is it Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah, but the funny one that happened yesterday, if you didn't see this, I got to tell you about it. Sheila Jackson Lee was making a complete fool of herself in the way that she was presenting possible questions, and she went on, and she went off the rails, and Lewandowski sat there and listened to her, and pretty quick she said, well, I need you to refer to this page of the Mueller report. And he says, I don't have a copy of the report. And she looked and she said, well, read it off the wall, read it off the screen. And he said, no, it's not in its entirety. I want the full report. So the Democrats had to scurry and go get him a copy of the Mueller report, hand it to him. He goes to the chapter and verse, and she goes ballistic. And all of a sudden, she ran out of time. And Nadler says, gentle lady, you are out of time. Gentle lady, you are out of time. And he said to Lewandowski, he says, go ahead and answer her question. And he said, she never asked one. And she said, yes, I did. And Lewandowski says, no, it was just nothing more than a rant.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's unbelievable. And so, as time goes on, they realize that no matter what they do, let's face it, it's all about the 2020 election.
Yep.
And there's nothing they can do to stop it. I'll hang up, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Thank you for your call. I got to share with you some of the lunacy that was connected to the Democrats yesterday that was brought out in the early stages of that hearing. Stand by. I'll get you that in just a moment. Coming up this Saturday, September 21st, the Bennett Boys Auction Service going to have the Carl Ashmead Estate Auction. It's going to be at Fairfield, beautiful, beautiful Fairfield, at 800 West 25 North, and you'll see all the auction signs, so don't worry about that. And lunch by the Cook Shack. They're going to have tractors, some really good ripping tractors. Case 2470 Traction King diesel tractor. They're going to have a lot of vehicles, pickups, and they're going to have all kinds of farm equipment and machinery, like a Massey Ferguson 850 combine, farm items, trailers, miscellaneous items, lots of shop and equipment and tools. All of this starting at 10:30 starting time this Saturday, September 21st. And it's in Fairfield at 800 West 25 North. Carl Ashmead Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Absolutely. Real quick also, before we continue on with the lunacy that was on television yesterday, I want to remind you about our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts, and they've got the equipment that can handle all the lifting and the digging and the pushing and the carrying. Oh, yeah, they got the big dudes. They got the little dudes. They got it all. They've got Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats. They've got the equipment you need to buy or lease. Excellent financing programs, great lease programs at Berry Equipment and Rental. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location serving you. Absolutely, Berry Equipment and Rental. One of the highlights of the whole day yesterday was when Congressman Jim Jordan pointed out to the hearing and national television when the Democrats were complaining about two people that were subpoenaed not showing up. Jim Jordan had a copy of the subpoena. And right on the front page of the supposed subpoena from the Democrats was a starting time. You must be there and appear at 10 a.m. However, the hearing didn't start till 1 o'clock. It just shows you the complete ineptness and absolutely pathetic attitude of the Democrats. Here they were yelling and screaming about people not showing up, but the wrong time was on the subpoena. You know, it was a complete waste of time. It really was. And it was a waste of our money. But they're not going to quit. I mean, all we heard yesterday was impeach, 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 and it went all the way from, oh my goodness, I think one of the most unlikely people to ever be a congresswoman, and that's, of course, Maxine Waters. Oh my goodness, she's impeach, impeach every other word. And then we had Congresswoman Presley, a member of the squad, urging impeachment of Kavanaugh, and on and on. That's all they think about. They're like I said yesterday, rabid dogs. But as I was talking to a good friend yesterday afternoon on the East Coast, let them be this way. Because they, with their rants and stupidity, are taking the so-called spotlight off of the Democratic possible nominees and putting it right smack dab on their idiocy of impeachment. As far as impeachment of Brett Kavanaugh, it ain't going to happen. And yet they're spinning their wheels in the sand. As far as the impeachment of President Trump, how, and why, and with what? There have been millions upon millions upon millions of dollars and hours and investigatory means financed to go after President Trump. What'd they find out? Nothing. Nada. Nothing impeachable. Now they're even saying, and I'm not making this up, this is really something. Now some of the Democrats are even saying, well, and they bluster up and they go, well, he's a bad guy, and so we need to impeach him. There's no part of the Constitution that says because you're a bad guy and they don't like your character that you can be impeached. These people are stupid. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Zeb. I am with you on this. For a long time, at first when they started this whole hearing with Donald Trump and the Russia collusion and blah, 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 and whatever, at first it kind of got under my skin a little bit, but I noticed that while they're distracted being stupid and loud and throwing a tantrum like school kids, he's actually getting things done. So I don't really care what they say or what they do. I mean, they can yell and scream and bluster and throw a fit and have a tantrum and all that kind of stuff all they want. All it's doing is showing their constituents what kind of a waste of space in Congress they have. They're do-nothings. They don't do anything anyways, and it's just come to the forefront now.
Oh, I totally agree.
Let them have at it. Let them keep throwing a fit. Let them keep raising heck.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more.
Done.
I could not agree with you more, Riley. I think that's a very good observation, but it was funny. It was good watching TV yesterday. Very few things on television are good watching, as far as I'm concerned. But I sat there and I reveled in the way that Lewandowski was playing the Democrats like they were little miniature puppets.
I didn't get to watch it. I was in the truck all till late last night, but I got to hear a little bit snippets on the news here and there, and it was kind of funny how he kept his cool.
Yep.
They were getting very, very upset.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but he kept his cool with them and just kept leading them back in the circle they like to run in.
The one congressman I don't know if you saw this or not, but there was one congressman, and I believe he was from Illinois. I could be wrong on this, and I'll stand corrected, but he said, "Are you the president's bag man? Are you the president's hit man? Are you the president's con man? What are you?" And Corey Lewandowski looked right at the guy, and he says, "No, I believe I'm a good-looking man."
I didn't hear that or see that. That's pretty funny.
I got to run, buddy. Thank you.
Later.
All right, thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget, let your house welcome you home with the perfect temperature. Open the door, and there it is. The iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox features remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Absolutely. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new system. So get comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them online, ramseysonline.com. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, from little bitty Jerry Nadler, who was so flustered yesterday, and Sheila Jackson Lee, that was so flustered yesterday, and the other Democrats. I could not believe how Lewandowski, in a very precise, concise, non-arbitrary fashion, just absolutely made fools out of these people. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A couple of things I'm really concerned about, and it seems like every day in the news or on the news, it's becoming a big priority story to talk about our Second Amendment and to talk about more gun control. And with the Democrats coming out and saying confiscation, taking of our guns is becoming more serious. Because as I check stories around the United States, there are many of the millennials and others of the left that want to have dominance and complete control over everybody. They know that having a good gun confiscation or gun control method, they would achieve their objectives. And I was listening to a commentary early this morning, and it's really true that the Democrats are out to disarm America, but primarily and first of all, to start with rural America. Now you say, wait a minute, why rural America? And really, if you can take care of the hinterlands, and you can take the guns away from the people that live out in the rural areas, whether it's Idaho, I don't care if it's Texas, I don't care if it's New Mexico or wherever. Take their guns away. Then put a noose around the neck of the big cities and have gun control and gun confiscation. You have achieved what communist and socialist people love: control of the people. And I maintain that's what they're after. They want to go after the guns. And the way things are going and the way things are being said, I honestly think that whether it's Beto O'Rourke, that I think is as worthless as a crumpled piece of paper, or Kamala Harris, or Elizabeth Warren, wild-haired Bernie, of course Joe Biden, all of them are going to make a commitment on behalf of their radical leftism to take apart and destroy our Second Amendment. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, of course they have to destroy it so they can swoop in and act like they're the inspired, enlightened saviors, the God. You know what? The Rust Belt is full of hunters, lots of them. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, they're full of hunters, tons of them. If you just Google it, it just shows you just how many. They think that they're going to take the guns away from these guys. It's a joke. These men have had guns in their family. Your family has had guns in their possession all their lives, and think about it. They're not going to get away with it, and it's going to infuriate the hunters if they try to do it.
It's not just the hunters by any way, shape, or form. In my particular case, I go hunting on occasion, and I do enjoy hunting, and I do enjoy being in the great outdoors. But I will say this, that the protection of my wife, myself, and our property are foremost dominant in my thoughts. And in this day and age, quite frankly, I will use my weapons to protect those items I just mentioned.
Exactly. But still, if let's say, for instance, Minnesota, which tends to be, leans left, Wisconsin's on the fence, if you upset those licensed hunters, it could have a very detrimental effect for the Democrats. And, I just hope that they're paying attention. I'm sure they are.
I don't know if they could pass the oral exam tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, though.
Well, yeah, you mean the Democrats?
Yes, exactly. You can feed them information. You can give them facts, i.e. the Mueller report and all the other investigatory type means and methods of going after Trump, and they still eat the covers on the book instead of ingesting what's inside.
They are. What have they done ever in the last, 10, 20 years? Well, since Obama was elected, what did the Democrats do to help America? I want somebody to call in and tell me what they did to help.
Yeah.
Obamacare didn't help. What else did Barack Hussein do that was so beneficial? Look what Trump has done, and we still have a year of his first term left, and then there'll be 4 more.
I look at the Democratic Party. I thought about this last night when I was watching repeats of what I saw at that hearing. I kind of look at the Democratic Party as a bad case of athlete's foot. It really itches and it's irritable, but you can put some stuff on it and it goes away.
They really are. I wonder what it's like. And they're really in there in their little groups, in their leadership groups, and there's nobody recording, nobody listening. What they really do say to each other. I mean, it would just be, like I say, they just don't know what to do.
I agree.
The playbook has been thrown in the trash because they're out of play. They just keep running the same one, and they keep running off tackle to the right, and it just gets mashed every time.
All righty. Appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a good day. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for something to celebrate, and this really is something to celebrate today. It is. Today, I don't have a drummer, so we'll have to fake it through. Today is National Cheeseburger Day. Yeah. Today is National Cheeseburger Day. So I know, this is a holiday that I'm going to celebrate. I love cheeseburgers with onions and pickles and mayonnaise and National Cheeseburger Day. Go out and celebrate. Let's have the weather forecast right now as I sit here and dream of cheeseburgers of days gone by. Our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, hearing loss affects each person differently. And they have the expert diagnostic skills, personalized treatment plans, and access to all types of hearing technology at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And I urge you to call the number and make an appointment at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina.
Enjoy the sunshine while we have it because things are going to change. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. Expecting sunny skies and a high of 73 tonight. Showers are going to be moving in right around midnight, about a 50% chance. Winds are going to be picking up as well, just a little bit. Low 44 tomorrow. Definitely rain showers, about a 70% chance. Only warming up to a high of 58. Those rain showers are going to continue for tomorrow night with a low 44. 50% chance of rain showers for Friday with a high of 58. Hopefully it's going to be clearing out a little bit for Friday night with a low of 38. Then by the weekend, sunny skies and warming up to the mid-60s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Reyes.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I urge you again to call if you're noticing any loss of hearing. Don't put it off. Call today. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I saw yesterday, and then I did, thanks to my lovely bride, we did a little research on it this morning, a study that shows that today's college and university students way too many of them, way too many numbers, absolutely are going through the college and university system with a hatred of America, a hatred of America's past, a hatred of America's potential present and future. They actually believe, and this is the feeling on a lot of major campuses today, that it's highbrow. You know, where you got your nose so far up in the air, you think you're better than everybody else, and when it rains, you'll drown. That it's highbrow, and it's the in thing to be anti-American. Think about that. These college kids going to school in the greatest country in the world ever, and they're not smart enough to figure that out. Not all of them, but way too many numbers think it's the in thing to do to hate and run down and hope for the demise of the country that's been feeding them. I can't figure this out. I honestly can't figure this out. I've said it before. I will bore you by saying it again, that I have been blessed all my life with the opportunities that have been presented to me because of my hard work. I'll admit that. I'll take a lot of the credit for what America can do to make and help you propel yourself to a career of success, if you work for it. Wow. But it's the in thing today. This is what really bothered me on their phrase when they said this. It's the in thing today to be anti-American. Shun the flag. Shun the Pledge of Allegiance. Laugh and demean our national anthem. Absolutely look down on America's past, present, and future. Does this bother you at all? These 20 to 24-year-olds, oh my goodness, are going to be leading this nation before too long. Where are they going to lead it? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm bothered by this. I hope you are too. Give me a call. I want to talk about a man that absolutely disgusts me in just a moment. We'll have that. Don't forget, let your house welcome you home with perfect temperatures. The iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox features remote control access, so literally you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Lennox Home Comfort Systems through Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, they're offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new system. So check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. All right, Pete Buttigieg. And to be honest with you, I really don't care if I mispronounce his name or not. This guy, he is a homosexual. He is, this is sickening to say, he's married to another man and running for the presidency of the United States. And how dare he, on almost a daily basis, cast out Bible philosophy as if he knew the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. How dare he keep spouting chapter and verse? This perverted individual, he needs to wake up some morning and perhaps look in the mirror and say, gee, let's read Romans 1:27 and see if that shoe fits. Pete Buttigieg is a joke, but nobody's laughing. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't weaken on me this morning. My goodness, yesterday we had caller after caller after caller after caller, and you're welcome to give me a jingle right now at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A very dear friend of mine sent me a story that when I read this, I wasn't shocked, but I'm worried. Even in our state of Idaho, up at Boise State University. Now, let's make some real distinctions here. I have been a fan of Boise State football for years, but I'm not a fan of the way that the university is going in a very liberal left way. I'm not a fan of it at all. And the headline of the story said, Boise State rewards students for unpacking white identity and recognizing their privilege. I guess where I'm coming from on this story, and I don't have time to go into it chapter and verse, but there are all across the United States major universities that are telling students and teaching students and compelling students to hate being white. Now, I would not tell that to a black person. I would not tell that to a brown-skinned person or whatever the color of their skin is, that you need to hate your race. But it's becoming ever clear all the time that the different universities want to denigrate Caucasians and put them in the background and absolutely shut the door. And they had up at Boise State a book by Robin DiAngelo titled, What Does It Mean to Be White? Developing White Racial Literacy. And in the book, basically, it's a condemnation of white people and also the intimation that white people are born into being white supremacists. I'm really bothered by this, and I'm going to do my best to try to get a hold of the author of this book and have her come on this program and let her know that my angst against her and her writings are pretty deep. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. You know what is really sad, and you look to the future. This year, when we elected a new governor, the Democrats got 46%. You know, they're moving in and they're taking over, and we've got to curtail that and get them back to thinking our way. Don't bring their beliefs into our state.
Well, wait a minute, George. I think maybe some of your verbiage I can't go along with. We've got to get them in here and change them to our way of thinking. Well, yeah, that sounds all well and good. But in a free society, our Republic of the United States of America, you have the right to believe and do basically as you want to do in our free society as long as it's within the confines of the laws. I'm not trying to sway everybody to be Republican. I'm not trying to sway everybody to be conservative, but what I am trying to do is sway people to use a little common sense before they take a stand of complete stupidity.
I agree, but if they're coming in and they're bringing their way of life with them, and we've got to either try to change it or cope with it.
I agree with that part of what you just said, because I am not in favor of fracturing all cultures in our United States. Our culture is very, very important to us, the American way, if you will. And when we bring in all these people from all points of the compass and let them basically develop their own culture that they left, we are absolutely creating a divided society, and the United States cannot succeed.
We the people.
Amen. Thanks, George. God bless you, man. Thanks.
God bless you, Zeb.
All right, sir. Take care. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. What are they doing right now? Well, they're having a great big fall tire sale. That's what they're doing, where you can save money and get the best and the safest of tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes for your SUVs, pickups, cars, camp trailers. Oh, camp trailers. You're going hunting. You better check the old rubber on those pickups, because you don't want to get up on the hill and have like 16 flat tires on the camp trailer and everything else. Hey, check it out today. Stop into any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and check out all the tires. The brake service, the front end alignments, the shocks and struts, the batteries. Make sure you got a good battery before you head for the mountain. Don't forget they've been doing the right thing since 1952. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, on Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news right now. Wheels, take it away, old buddy. I'll be back in 7. Wow. Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday, September 18th. My. It's hard to believe it's already September 18th. My goodness sakes, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a big fall tire sale going on right now for you. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Also, Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, Old Wheels has got this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, Western Waste Services. I mean, what do they do for you? Well, it's easy. They'll take care of your garbage. All you need to do if you're new in the area and you're going, I don't know what to do with all my garbage, call them at 734-6969. They are always at your disposal. They'll get you on the route service, and your garbage is going to be picked up once a week. It's gone. Western Waste Services, serving you. Want to remind you again, this Saturday there's going to be a lot of fun for folks over at the Purple Shovel Market. It's an outdoor market connected to the Nature Nursery at 120 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across the street from the Burley Golf Course. Don't forget, antiques and crafts and food vendors and all kinds of unique finds. You're going to have a lot of fun from 10 to 4 this next Saturday at the Purple Shovel Market, right with Nature Nursery, 120 East Highway 81 in Burley. Don't miss this. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Lennox, of course. You can let your house welcome you home anytime, all the time, with the perfect temperature. The iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox features remote control access, so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Get a hold of Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox today, offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Hanson Mortuary, and really they are our friends and your friends, and they do so much for the community, and I really want to thank Joel Heward, his family, and his staff for all they do at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And believe me, like I've said so many times on this program, when there's the passing of a loved one, the whole world just seems to stop, and you've got so much to take care of. Call them. They can and they will help you. Hanson Mortuary, 436-5636. And don't forget, Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Ladies and gentlemen, we now are going to be going to the Sunnyvale Rest Home in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're going to be wait a minute, they're wheeling him in a wheelchair up to the microphone right now, and with shaky hands, he takes the microphone, and we say, happy birthday to Dave Bego.
Well, thanks for the happy birthday, but I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm on the basketball court getting ready to play full-court basketball.
I hope that you have your oxygen tank strapped strictly around your waist.
I don't need those. I'm still in great shape. Thank you, Zeb.
Happy birthday to you. What are you now, 78, right?
No, I'm 66.
Oh, okay. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. What did you get for your birthday?
Oh, I don't know yet. I've just been in the office, but I've got so many emails and text and that from employees and customers and people I know and friends this morning. It's unbelievable. My email's been packed and my texts have been packed, and it's been a great morning.
Did you get any bottles of wine?
No, I thought I'd have one from you here this morning.
Oh, it's in the mail. Well, Deanne and I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday. You take a lot of chiding and kidding from me, but you are and always will be one of our great friends. Thank you so much, and I hope that the cake is just the kind of... By the way, what is your favorite birthday cake?
Well, Zeb, I got to tell you this. I don't get a birthday cake. I get a birthday pumpkin pie. My wife makes her own pumpkin pie, and she makes the best pumpkin pie in the world, and I just love pumpkin pie. And she's making it for me for dinner tonight after we have our dinner, and I can't wait to have the pumpkin pie. I mean, this recipe she uses is a combination of my mom's and her mom's, who have both passed away, and Barb just does such a great job making it. It's unbelievable, and I can't wait.
Well, there is such a thing as being able to send that type of item in the mail when you put it in proper packing with the ice, etc. So when can we expect our pie?
I'll think about that probably when I get my wine.
Touche. Hey, I got to ask you about this General Motors strike that General Motors workers, about 50,000 of them, are saying, and Wheels, we've got a little feedback on the line, please. Many of the workers are saying, well, we're not getting paid enough and we don't have enough benefits. And my own personal opinion, let me say this and then tell me if I'm wrong, that of the auto workers, I think the GM contract with their workers and their benefits, one of the best anywhere in the country. Am I wrong?
Well, I think it's pretty good, and I'm really surprised about this because, both here in Indiana and up in Michigan, where I helped get right to work passed in both states, behind the scenes by getting people to get it done. The United Auto Workers, but these were United Auto Workers out of a Ford plant. They were fed up with the union bosses and their political agenda and the fact they kept the dues money for their own pocketbook and their political agenda and that. They were tired of the UAW. And now GM is a little bit different thing because it's kind of controlled by the UAW. And I think this is where that's all coming from. It'll be interesting as we move forward whether UAW employees in Ford plants and other ones, if they'll go out on strike or not. So I think this is just a control thing going on between the UAW and GM.
Of the political candidates on the Democratic ticket that are asking for the public to put them in as a nominee for president, which ones are you the most afraid of because of their political ties to unions and major union bosses?
Well, here's the thing, Zeb, and this just came out earlier this week, is that Bernie Sanders, he's already said that he's letting the unions and union bosses run his campaigns, and he thinks all the Democratic candidates should allow the unions to run their campaigns. And, several of them, like Kamala Harris and even Elizabeth Warren and several others have already come out and said they're going to allow that to happen. So that is a scary thing, that the unions are trying to take control of this country through this political process, which they've been doing for years by just donating money. But now they're trying to get in and actually run the campaigns.
Give me a scenario as to what can happen, might happen, or will happen if that happens.
Well, I think I'm afraid they'll try and turn us into a socialistic, communistic country. And I've talked about that before, and, I can see those things happening. And, Trump has to get out there and be very professional and talk to employees or people across the country and union people and that, because, he got a big portion of the union vote in 2016, and that's one of the things that unions are afraid of, is that he'll get another big portion again in this 2020 election, and that's one of the reasons they're doing this. They're behind the scenes trying to take control and make sure that these people don't vote for him.
On another note this morning, I've got to ask you, as a business owner, entrepreneur, writer, etc., please, did you have any chance or opportunity to watch the clown car in action yesterday at the House hearing against Corey Lewandowski? I never stopped laughing for 5 hours. It was that humorous.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and then he was on Fox News later and talking and that, and it was interesting. They try to do everything they can to bring people down, and he did a good job in how he handled it. He was pretty professional about it, and that's the way you have to be if you're going to fight them.
And it was so obvious that they were trying to trip him up, whether it was Sheila Jackson Lee or Nadler or any of the Democrats up there at that podium behind their microphones, and they tried to trip him up, and he was absolutely so articulate and so brief and succinct that you could just see, like in the case of Jerry Nadler and Sheila Jackson Lee, they were about ready to throw their papers in the air and stomp out. He had them like he was playing puppets.
Yeah, and that's the way you have to be. And I think I've mentioned this on your show before, that one of the things that I think Trump has to do is he has to quit throwing some of these barbs out there, and in his tweets and when he talks and that, and has to be more professional about it, because they just turn around and use those as bullets to shoot you with. And what you really got to do is be very professional and just expose the stuff they're talking about and showing you as untrue or lies or whatever, but do it in a very professional manner, because then they don't know what to do, and that's why they wanted to throw their paper in the air last night.
Did you happen to catch the one change or interchange between, I'm trying to think of the man's name all of a sudden, Swalwell, Eric Swalwell from California, and he asked Lewandowski a question, and Lewandowski said, well, Mr. President, this is the answer, and he referred to Swalwell as Mr. President because of a very failed, very short attempt at trying to get the Democratic nomination. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, well, at least he was professional about it, He didn't call him a bad nickname or anything, Mr. President.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a caller with a question, Dave, or a comment. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, am I coming through good?
Yeah, a lot better than you were earlier. Go ahead, quickly.
Okay, I don't want to take more time than I have to. Well, I just wanted him to comment on this. At the top of the hour, they're so desperate to try to take Trump out in any way that we've talked about how they tried to crash the economy and a month ago, and just at the top of the hour on this station, Westwood One, they said that somebody, the CEO of the company, said that for sure that America would enter the recession before the 2020 election. This same network, the national network, said on Monday that Trump got rid of Bolton. He got rid of Bolton because Bolton wanted to ease tensions with Iran. Now, we all know that that's a bold-faced lie. Bolton is a hawk, and he always wants to raise hell. He'd blow Iran off the face of the earth if he could get away with it. And Trump doesn't need to be in a war. But this is what Westwood One said Monday, that he got rid of Bolton because Bolton wanted to ease tensions with Iran. This is the national news lying to our face and then trying to direct the economy. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, Dave, please.
Well, and I've talked about this many times and to other people and other things that, and I talk about it in my book, The Devil at Our Doorstep, that behind the scenes the unions control the media, and that's what they do to get things going in their favor, and they'll have them come in and put in lies and stuff like that because I don't know if you remember that, but my first book, The Devil at My Doorstep, I was going on Fox Business News in New York to talk about my first book, and as I was sitting there waiting to go on, down the aisle comes Glenn Beck, and I stood up to introduce myself to him, and he had all this luggage, and I said, Glenn, where are you going? He says, I've been fired. I said, why? He says, because I did a couple shows on the SEIU, and they called Fox's, they went after Fox's advertisers, and Fox started losing money, and they called Fox and told them to fire me, and they'd leave the advertisers alone. So this is my last day. And I said, well, I've seen your shows, and I'm sorry to hear that, but, you know, I'm going on Fox Business News to talk about my book, how we fought the SEIU. And he says, yeah, I know. He says, good luck. And here's what he meant by good luck. Because he knew I'd be writing another book. And when my second book came out, The Devil at Our Doorstep, you know, the current one, I sent it to Fox, and I'd been on CNN. I sent it to CNN and MSNBC and some other places, and asked them to have me back on again to talk about my book, The Devil at Our Doorstep. And to this day, not one of them responded to me. And I'm sure that's because the unions saw me on there, on their shows, and called them and said, don't ever have him back on again. And that's what they do. They control the media.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I will say this, and I don't care if it's Fox News or if it's MSNBC or whomever. There is a yellow vein of cowardice that runs through every media office right now, whether it's the big networks or whatever, because they're not going to make waves to where people are going to turn around and say, we're coming after you and your advertisers. There's cowardice in the media all across America.
Yep, and that's the case. And but you know, it's all about revenues for them and profits, and they know that they'll go after their advertisers and that, and they'll start losing revenues and money, and so they're just not willing to do it.
Yeah,
and really, do the right thing and try to win the battle.
I will say this. I mentioned this on Monday's program, and I want to throw this at you and see if you agree or disagree with me. With all this talk and this rabid confrontation about impeachment, impeach Trump, we've got to get him and throw him out of office before 2020, and then impeach Kavanaugh and dragging him and his family through the muck and mud again, impeach. What the Democrats have done, in my opinion, has taken the spotlight off of any of the candidates that are trying to run for president, and they've focused on one word, impeachment. And if I were one of those Democratic candidates, regardless of who it is, I would be furious with the Democratic Party from shifting the media attention to impeachment.
Yeah, this is their agenda and tactics that they use, and they go after the people that they want to bring down here before the 2020 election, and that's what they're trying to do because they want to take over the Senate and the presidency and maintain the House so that they can run this country and control us.
Dave, you're real close still, I believe, to a lot of college athletics and what's going on in colleges. And a study came out that really, really bothered me. And I wished I had that study right in front of me, but it's in my briefcase. But the study shows that way too many college and university students today, when polled and questioned, said they hate America. They hate its past, they hate its present, and they hate the potential future. And they believe that that is the in thing to do on college campuses today, is hate America. Have you run across this? Are you familiar with this problem, or are you aware of it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think I've mentioned on your show that for the last 30, 40 years that the left and the unions and what they're doing is they've infiltrated our education system even kindergarten through high school and into the colleges with teachers and professors and that are far left radicals who are being controlled by the far left and telling them what to say and what to do and how to teach these kids and to tell them that this is a bad thing and America's bad and that we need to bring it down and make it a socialistic, communistic country. And so they've been working to get in the heads of these people and brainwash them. And that, again, Zeb, if you read my book, that's the tactics that they used against us too. They went out after our employees and lied to them and promised them that you're going to get this and this is much better than the environment you're in and all this kind of stuff. And this is what the left does.
But what about, and I've only got a couple of minutes left here, so real quick response on this, but what about the confrontation to sit down and discern the real facts? How do you do that with these people?
Well, like I say, you got to get out in front of them, and you got to talk to these people. And when I've had a chance to sit down and talk to, some younger people and millennials and stuff like that, and I do it in a calm voice, like I'm talking with you right now, and I go over this stuff and tell them what's really going on behind the scenes because I've been through it. You can almost see the light bulb go on in their head, and this is what all of us need to do with the young kids today and the people in school and the millennials and the people getting out of college and all that, because we got to wake them up to what's really going on in America.
Amen.
The greatest country in the history of the world.
And always, hopefully, God help us, will be. I appreciate that. What are you going to do special for your birthday? Are you going to play hooky and leave your desk in disarray and skip out?
No, I'll be here all day, but I'll make it more of a relaxing day today, and then my wife and I will be going out to dinner tonight. When I get home, I get my pumpkin pie.
For some reason, I've got a very unsavory picture of you sitting there with a pair of sweaty gym socks on and tenny runners in 1972 gym shorts, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture.
Nope, I am dressed up professionally.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Dave Bigo.
Thank you, and you have a great week, and great talking to you.
God bless. Thank you very much. Dear friend Dave Bigo, celebrating a birthday today. Good guy. Hey, want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Oh, my. They can help you, and they're helping me. With the aching and the paining, and maybe you're recouping from an injury or an accident, please call them. Make an appointment and stop over there and let them help you get back to being you. Absolutely. The best of physical therapists, and of course they've got all the exercise programs, and they've got the hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in this area. Oh my. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Here's the number. Write it down. Give them a call. 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Absolutely the best. Want to also remind you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I've got to get a hold of old Jeff. Jeff, if you're listening, doggone it, call me. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Oh, they're having a big closeout on some mattresses right there at the store that will help you get a better night's sleep. Absolutely. And they got special prices, low prices on floor coverings. And listen to this, they're having a window covering sale for the blinds, the shutters, the roller shades. They're up, they're down, and 30% off on all those window coverings. What a great place to go and shop for the beautification and the comfortization of your home. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland and Burley. You stop in and see them today. In just a moment, we're going to have a gentleman on the program that I'm really looking forward to getting him on our program. He's the director of Save Our States, and that's Trent England. He'll be coming up in just a second. Don't forget, let's ride. Oh, yeah, get your motor running. Start it up and hit the hills. Enjoy all the beautiful fall scenery of Idaho. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. I urge you to get on over there. They're having all the 2020 models come on in, and that means that you can save a lot of money and make great deals on the 2019s. Get in there today. All the accessories and a super service department to keep you running at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Want to quickly also remind you, I know I'm going through a lot of our great advertisers, but there's a reason for that. I want to tell you also about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh my. All your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits with the professionals, people that are really dedicated and responsive to your needs, thoughtful and caring too. So for you, your family, and your business, don't put it off. Don't put it off. Pick up the phone, make an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Serving you. All right, let's go to the phone line right now. And boy, this is my kind of a guest and topic this morning, because it's a subject matter that I'm very, very concerned about, with the liberal lefties trying to put our complete United States of America value system in complete disarray and trash our Constitution. I say good morning to the director of Save Our States, Mr. Trent England. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zeb. Good morning.
Trent, I think we're in a world of trouble if we don't stand up and start protecting some of the great things in our country, i.e. our Constitution, our value system, etc. And our Electoral College is one that I will fight to keep. What are your thoughts?
You know, absolutely. That's why I created Save Our States 10 years ago, to defend the system that our founders gave us, that has worked for us so well, that I actually think if you could bring James Madison back and he took a look at this, I think he'd be surprised at how it's worked even better than he thought it would. And yet you have people on the left and then also just a lot of Americans who have been deprived of learning real history and real civics, who think that we should throw all this out and just go to a French-style or a Russian-style direct election for president. It's really scary, because the instability that would cause and the doors that would open to election fraud, I think would threaten really to tear our country apart. And a lot of people just don't realize it.
Caller, stand by just for a minute. I'll put you on the air in just a moment. Trent, one of my main themes on this program and talking about the Electoral College, etc., is that the only reason, and this is my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, the only reason that this has become such a dominant topic for discussion is because the Democrats are still spoiled brats over the 2016 election, and they want it all their way.
No, that's absolutely right. And, you know, this all started, actually, this National Popular Vote Interstate Compact that's out there trying to hijack the Electoral College, all started after 2000. And, you know, it's an Al Gore elector from California who has set out to destroy the Electoral College and created this strategy to do it. And, you know, he's been lobbying everywhere, including in Idaho, trying to get states to adopt this plan that would, I mean, it really would hijack the Electoral College. And, yeah, I mean, they don't, it's not just that they want to win. They want to be able to win without talking to people in Idaho or Wisconsin or, you know, Michigan outside of Detroit, right? They want to be able to win with an urban coalition instead of actually needing to go out and broaden their appeal to a more diverse group of Americans, which is, you know, I mean, I think in the long run, it's not even good for the Democratic Party, but it's certainly bad for our country, you know, when people are so concerned about our divisive politics.
We have a caller with a question already, Trent. So, caller, I'm going to ask you to be quick and concise. Go ahead, please.
Okay, this is kind of like a alert for people going to Twin Falls.
No.
The interstate is blocked down towards Twin Falls. You have to get off at the Valley interchange, and it's one-way traffic, and it's a mess. So I advise them take the old road or be patient.
All right, I appreciate that, caller, and we will do some checking during the next newscast with Gina and find out what the problems are and what to do to circumvent that area. Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate it. Trent.
Zeb, that's good advice, and that actually is a good reminder of why the Electoral College matters, right? We have states and we have local governments because local knowledge is important, right? And they don't know everything in Washington D.C. And I don't know. I like the fact that your caller is trying to help people in his own community to understand what's going on, right? I mean, this is how things are supposed to work in America. We don't. We're not supposed to have to loop everything in and out of Washington, D.C., and even our national elections, we run at the state and even the local level because we're different state by state and county by county, and we have a system that respects that. It's a good thing.
Trent, let me just kind of throw some things at you here kind of randomly regarding the Electoral College and our voting in general. I will not forget, it's been about 3-4 months ago, they were interviewing a millennial on one of the newscasts, nationwide newscasts, and basically said that if Trump gets reelected, there's going to be chaos and anarchy, and we're going to put down and destroy the Electoral College. The millennial generation, and I'm not picking on all of them by any means, because I have many, many friends and advertisers and sponsors on my program that are millennials that own businesses, and I have the utmost respect for them. But it's the certain segment of the millennials that are standing there with a tin cup asking America to give them everything and provide them everything, that do not understand or have any semblance of information at all as to how great this country is. Those are the ones that want to tear it apart because of their stupidity. Am I wrong or right?
No, I think that's exactly right. I was out in Kingfisher, Oklahoma yesterday speaking to a Rotary Club, and it was just such a reminder of all these people in their 50s and 60s and 70s who have built businesses, built careers in small town America, and they've worked so hard, and yet they get so little respect from some members of the younger generation who just, as you say, they have been given an entitlement mentality. And I think our schools, instead of teaching civics, our schools have taught self-esteem, which is, you're great whether you work hard or not. Your opinion should be respected whether you know anything or not. And it's just a disaster for society to have people running around with that sense of entitlement.
But what do we do, Trent, to change it? What are you doing every day to promote and understand the Electoral College, education in our system, etc.? I'm going to go right back to kindergarten all the way through high school and into the colleges and universities. It's our education system that has let down America. Do you think I'm wrong on that point?
I think that's absolutely right, and I think it's more than let down. I think that there are people within the education system, and I think there have been since the progressive era began back in the 19-teens, who have intended to use our education system as a way to really brainwash Americans to not respect the Constitution, not respect the principles of the Declaration of Independence. And, just like those people wanted to centralize control over education in Washington, D.C., and they've done that to some degree in various ways, they also want to centralize control over elections, and that's a part of this whole push that they have to get rid of the Electoral College. What we do at Save Our States, and what I do, I really see my mission is trying to explain to people why our nation became so exceptional and how they can preserve those things that have made the United States an exceptional nation. And so Save Our States is all about explaining to people, particularly when it comes to our constitutional system of states, why it matters so much. And so, I speak across the country, as I say, Kingfisher, Oklahoma yesterday, and I'm going to be speaking at a college in New York City on Friday, and at a conference for Eagle Forum leaders in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. I mean, Save Our States is trying to get the message out and equip people with what they need to then turn around and educate the people around them in their own communities. That's my mission. That's why we do this. The Constitution is really only as good as the people. It is governing, right? I mean, the Constitution can't survive on its own. It needs us to be there to support it, to defend it, and to explain to other Americans why they should do the same thing.
Trent, you know as well as I do, and I admire you for what you're doing, but you know as well as I do that even the Pledge of Allegiance, which takes only 17 seconds to recite, is not welcome in the classroom with the excuse of a lot of educators, it takes too much time away from our classes, which is bogus. How are we going to get this information back into the classroom about this country, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, everything about our history? And how can these kids ever learn and appreciate how great a country is if they don't know and they're not being told?
No, that's right. I mean, I think there are two things. And one trend is encouraging, but we've got a long ways to go, and that's people just pulling their kids out of the government-run schools and either homeschooling or putting them into, high-quality private schools. I think there are a lot of private schools that just sort of mimic what goes on in public schools, but there are a lot of great private schools out there that operate on a classical model that really educate people the way the founders were educated. I think we see those things growing and flourishing, and that's a good thing, but it's still small. I think the other thing, and this is something I've worked on as well, is trying to break the public school monopoly open and give parents a choice, because I really believe that most American parents, if given the choice between a school that says, we're not going to teach civics, or if we do teach civics, we're going to tear down our country, versus a school that says, no, we're going to teach American history. We're going to help people be proud of their country. I think most American parents, people who are totally not political, would make the choice to send their kids to a school that provides a good civics education and actually is patriotic. And so I think if we can get school choice in our states, and I know, this is something, there are people in Idaho fighting for this, and just like we're fighting for this in Oklahoma, but if we can give parents choices and create some competition even in the government-run system, I think things would at least get better there. But ultimately, it's, parents have to take ownership of this, and we've got to look at, if we want to preserve our Constitution, well, how are the founders educated, right? How are the people who put that together educated, and try to educate our kids using that same model? And a lot of people are doing that, but it's another thing. We just have to educate parents on how important that is and the responsibility that they have, not just to their kids, but to our country.
Let me ask you this. Give me a scenario or a circumstance as to where you, Trent England, were confronted. Hold on, caller, I'll be right with you. Were confronted by a group of students and or adults when you made the statement about preserving the Electoral College. What did you say to them, and did you change their way of thinking?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I have found on this issue that it is somewhere where you can change a lot of minds. I have had a lot of people, we'll talk for just a couple minutes, and they'll say, wow, now it makes sense to me. I mean, the 3 points are these. One, the Electoral College prevents regional politics, right? The Electoral College prevented, after the Civil War, it prevented the Democrats from winning with just huge margins, some of that due to fraud, in the Deep South. The Democrats had to reach out. They had to win over some states in the North and some of the new states in the West in order to win the presidency. And today we see the same thing. The Electoral College says, hey, Democrats, you can't just win with a narrow urban coalition. You can't just win based on California. You have to reach out and pull some more people, some more states into your coalition in order to win the White House. So that's the first and most important thing the Electoral College does. But it also contains election disputes, fraud, mistakes in the states where they happen, right? So, like the watertight compartments on an ocean liner, if we spring a leak, in one state during the election, it doesn't swamp the whole ship. It's contained there, and we can deal with it more easily. And third, it keeps Washington, D.C. from taking over our elections, because if we turn the presidential election into a real national election, we just have a big national popular vote, then you have to have the same rules and the same decision maker for that election. And so Washington, D.C. would have to take over. The Electoral College keeps that power in the states, keeps it decentralized. And, I do find most people, when you go through those three things, they might not, they might not come around right away, or they might not admit it. But they always, I always get this. Well, I never thought about any of those things before. Mm-hmm. And I've had state legislators who were, they were dead set on getting rid of the Electoral College, and I've sat down and gone through this with them, and they completely changed their positions, and they wind up, speaking on the floor of the legislature about how important the Electoral College is. So, I think this is something we really can help people think it through, and we can win by educating people.
I agree. We have a caller with a question or a comment. Go ahead, caller, quickly. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yes, this is you talked about education and history. This is from an article called Rediscovering the Wisdom in American History. And the gentleman wrote, the story of American history has been fractured into 1,000 pieces and burdened with so much ideologically baggage that studying history actually alienates young Americans from possibility of properly appreciating their past. 20 years ago, he wrote a book called The Student's Guide to U.S. History. I was unable to include in this bibliography a high school or college textbook on U.S. history because there was not one suitable. 20 years ago, there wasn't a suitable history textbook in high school or college that would represent what really happened in America. This is how far down the road we are with our education system. And these young people will believe anything, including getting rid of the Electoral College. I'll hang on.
Respond to the caller, please, Trent.
Yeah, no, that's an outstanding essay. I was just reading it the other day by University of Oklahoma professor Bill McClay, and no, it's exactly right. I mean, here's what I would say about how the progressives approach history. Right, the left, the so-called progressives, they want to convince people that they're smarter than everybody else. I mean, this is really that hubris, right? That pride is actually at the root of their political philosophy. And so to do that, what they do is they go back to history with a sledgehammer because, instead of admitting that human nature is the same across time, that history tends to repeat itself, there's nothing new under the sun, they have to go back to history and beat it down because that makes them look smarter, right? So when they go back and they say the founders were all racist and the framers of the Constitution were all slaveholders, and, the Gilded Era was this era of unbridled greed and abuse. Right? What they're doing is they're elevating themselves. They're saying, we're not like that, and we're not like them, and we're better than all of these people. We get to judge history. And so it's very important for them to do that, to bolster their own claim to power, which makes them, I always say they are the assassins of our heroes. That the progressives, they go rampaging through our history to murder our heroes, and that tells us, though, what we need to do. We need to go and we need to resuscitate, to revive the heroes in American history and teach those stories, because people love stories. Right? A lot of kids today, you talk to millennials today about history, and what you'll hear is it's boring. I always tell them, if history is boring, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Right? History is an exciting set of stories about real people facing real challenges, and if we can go back and revive our American heroes, we can provide a rebuttal to the progressives without ever actually talking about the progressives or engaging them directly. If we can capture the imagination of, young Americans with these amazing stories about, the patriots at Lexington and the incredible, confluence of events that produced our Constitution and then got it ratified. I mean, just look at the musical Hamilton, right? That's been something that's exciting to me. It's not perfect, but it's actually got a lot of millennial Americans interested in the American founding and defending, to a certain extent, the American founders, which is fascinating. And if you read some of the progressive left insider publications, they hate the musical Hamilton, right? They are absolutely petrified that millennials are taking an interest in the founders and not just discounting all of this. So, yeah, I think we've got to revive our heroes.
Let me just have you answer a short question and give me a short answer on this. I'm almost out of time, Trent. But we talked about the millennials. We've talked about many that are disrespecting our great country and its Constitution and its values. But we also have many, too many elected officials that don't know Khmer from Sikkim when it comes to the Constitution and, of course, the Electoral College. Our politicians are some of the most uneducated people.
No, that's right, and this is where we have to be really savvy when we go to vote, particularly in primaries. I mean, we have to care about whether the people we elect understand these things, and that starts with asking hard questions and recruiting good candidates. Because oftentimes, look, if somebody wants to run for office as a conservative, they know the words to say, and we've got to peel back a few layers on the onion and find out what they really believe.
Trent, I hope you'll consent to coming back on the program in the future. You're very interesting, and I'm appreciative of what you're doing. Save Our State's Director, Trent England. Thank you, God bless, and please come back.
God bless you, Zeb. Thanks so much.
All right, sir. Very, very knowledgeable man on our Electoral College, our Constitution, and quite frankly, our American values, Trent England, and we will have him back in the future. Holy smokes, I've got to get a weather forecast on here. Poor old Wheels is looking at the clock saying, Zeb! Don't forget this weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. These people are the professionals. They know, and they can help you, your family, and your business with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, financial statement preparation, business consulting. Oh, the list goes on and on. These are the professionals. These are the professionals serving you, and they're, of course, located in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the sunshine while we have it, because things are going to change. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. Expecting sunny skies and a high of 73 tonight. Showers are going to be moving in right around midnight, about a 50% chance. Winds are going to be picking up as well just a little bit. Low 44 tomorrow. Definitely rain showers, about a 70% chance. Only warming up to a high of 58. Those rain showers are going to continue for tomorrow night with a low of 44. 50% chance of rain showers for Friday with a high of 58. Hopefully it's going to be clearing out a little bit for Friday night with a low of 38. Then by the weekend, sunny skies and warming up to the mid-60s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebedee.
Gina, she always does a very comprehensive weather program, and we appreciate it. And the weather this hour brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services for you in the Mini-Cassia area, and they've done it for over 50 years. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Now, tomorrow on the program, yours truly is not going to be here. It's my Thursday to be off, and I've asked my great friend, lovely lady, Sharon Wilmot's going to I got the name right, Sharon. Sharon Wilmot's going to be filling in tomorrow on the show. So I'm doing today's Starving to Death. If you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go eat. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, all the delicious, different flavored shakes and all the different burgers. My favorite, the famous Farmer Brown burger with fries and sauce. Oh, lips smacking good at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, move on over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley, one of the great places to get together for your morning coffee. And with that morning coffee, how about a breakfast burrito that'll knock your Tony Lamas off delicious? And along with that, all the pork burritos and all the different menu choices, absolutely phenomenal at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's not forget not one, but two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. And listen to this. Listen up now. Corn dogs and burritos only $1.39 after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Why, you couldn't beat that with the board. You better just get in there and check it out. They've got great, great food at Burgers Etc. and really nice people serving you. Don't forget Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And last but not least, how about Steve-O's? Oh, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. And with the warm weather, and it's not bad at all, patio probably still open with music on Friday and Saturday evenings. And they've got those delicious buffalo burgers and the cheesy broccoli spud, along with all the great menu choices at Steve-O's, and really, really nice people. When you don't want to cook, you better eat out. You better go to Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And those are just a few places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. I am. Let's see, I thought I had a little news note. Yeah, hold on a second. I dropped the paper on the floor I understand there was an accident on the interstate, and the interstate is closed in various portions. Hold on, let me get that note. I'm not kidding. I dropped it on the floor. My lovely bride found out the information, and it looks like westbound traffic between Valley Road and exit 188 to I can't get this other one here, but there is a closure. The road is closed because of a crash, and they say to expect delays. I'm sure that Gina will have more on this in just a moment from our headquarters over at K-Bar. But thanks to Keith Cottam calling in earlier and notifying us that there is a closure on the westbound lane on the interstate. So there you go. We're going to come back after the news from CBS with the Auto Fish and Game Report. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch, I hope you have a good day. I knew that she would have an update. She is one sharp cookie. Thanks, Gina. Zeb at the Ranch, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a great big fall tire sale going on right now. Thank you, Les Schwab. And, of course, don't forget some of our great, great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, don't forget Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. By the way, are you looking for a brand new TV set? Really? Well, I know where you can go. Over to Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. They've got all the Samsung and the Sony and the Toshiba and the LG TVs. What a selection. Holy cow, you better get in there today. 421 East Main in Burley, and they've got all your electronic needs, home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems. They are really, really nice people devoted to serving you with your electronic needs. Stop in and see them today. Curtis and Lorena and the crew at Patterson's, 421 East Main in Burley. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Want to remind you, too, about our friends with Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Don't forget, they have the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox, featuring remote control access from anywhere. Anytime. I'm telling you, you better find out more. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. Make yourself comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. And one last note, and then I'm going to shut up and let this man take over for the rest of the hour. And a great big sale put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service is going to be this Saturday, don't forget. And it's going to be at 10:30 at Fairfield. Listen to the address, 800 West, 25 North of Fairfield. It's the Carl Ashmead Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. They're going to have a lot of farm machinery, good tractors and farm equipment and farm items, trailers like a 2-horse single-axle horse trailer, and vehicles, a 1979 Ford Ranger F-150 pickup, shop equipment, tools, all of this and more at the big sale on Saturday. Carl Ashmead Estate Auction in Fairfield, 800 West, 25 North, Saturday at 10:30. Watch for the signs, lunch by the Cook Shack, and the Bennett Boys Auction Service managing this sale. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Well, with all that being said, it's time for the Idaho Fish and Game Report, our monthly meeting, if you will, right here with the powers that be and the communications director for this area for the Idaho Fish and Game, Terry Thompson. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
I need you to get real close. You're married, aren't you?
I'm not.
You're not? Well, then pretend that's your girlfriend. Give her a great big kiss, that microphone. A lot of things going on. Hunting season is in full swing.
It is, and it seems that each week brings a new season opening. We've got archers in the field. We've got bird hunters chasing doves, and then sage grouse is going to open this weekend.
You know, Terry, I had a person call me the other day, and we were talking about four-wheeling and getting up and enjoying the fall colors and everything. And a lot of concerns for people that are not hunters are going up into the hills and just being careful and cautious, as the hunters should be. How do they find out, the best way to find out the information as to what's open? Just call the Fish and Game office or get one of your booklets? What would you suggest?
All of the above. Our office is always willing to take time and just call our general fit number line at that phone number is area code 208-324-4359. We've got staff there 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, that can answer any of your questions. The regulation booklets are always a great source of information.
They're kind of all over at various stores, too, aren't they?
Absolutely. Licensed vendors should have a good supply. Again, you know, we have them at our regional office there in Jerome. So, it shouldn't be too hard to come up with a regulation booklet.
You know, I just am so lucky to live here in this area, and the beauty and the fall here in southern Idaho, and everybody can enjoy it together. But I would say this to the hunters: just be really careful.
Absolutely. You know, we've heard from hunters that they're concerned about what they refer to as hunter congestion, you know, just in terms of the numbers of people that are out there pursuing game.
Yeah.
And then we have the other folks out there that are, you know, like you say, recreating on their four-wheelers or whatever, hikers. So just be careful from a standpoint of other people out in the field. But personal safety is also, you know, something that's really important.
Absolutely.
And be ready for pretty much any situation. You know, you can see our weather's changing, and it's changing pretty fast.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, I think I heard someplace that there might even be some snow dusting some hilltops.
I heard that, yes.
So, you know, there's...
It's that darn global warming.
Yeah, you know, but there's some... there's some good tools that people can take in the field that are apps on a phone, or your things that you can, using satellites, you can keep in contact with your family back,
right.
and more importantly, there's a 911 function.
I would add something else to the fray, and you can agree or disagree, but I don't care if you're a hunter or if you're just going up into the hills with a camera. Wear hunter orange.
Absolutely. We want to see people with hunter orange. You know, every year I see pictures of hunters out there totally camouflaged up, and I understand that, but at the same time, we don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Absolutely.
And, Hunter Orange, even if it's just a hat, a stocking cap, but something to let people know that you're there.
Absolutely. Upland game bird forecast. A lot of birds out there?
It kind of depends on the species, but there is definitely opportunity for birds out there right now. Like I said, sage grouse is going to open this weekend. Unfortunately, down here in what we call Zone 2, which is southern Idaho, it's only a... Zone 2, is a week-long season, opens this Saturday, 1 bird per day, 2 birds in possession. But if you go up to Zone 3, which is north of Twin Falls here, it's only a 2-day season.
Really?
This weekend, 21st, 22nd.
And the reason?
Low numbers. Our surveys this spring showed lower numbers than we wanted to see, so our biologists took those reports to the commission.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Terry, but that's what you're here for and I'm here for.
Sure.
Low numbers. Now, are the count numbers, are they within a percentage of whatever that percentage is fairly accurate?
I think, yes. We have a very robust survey system in place, and then we look at those, and probably the biggest thing is looking at trends over time.
Trends.
Okay. It's unfortunate that with sage grouse is that trend has not been on the upswing. It's been a decline over the years, and probably the last 10 years or longer. So what we look at as an agency is, what are our population numbers doing region-wide or statewide? And then people who are way smarter than me on the biologist side make recommendations to our Fish and Game Commission, who then takes that information and then sets seasons. We want to provide as much opportunity as we can, but we also need to make sure that we ensure sustainability over time.
I understand. So another thing, we're going to go down this checklist, and we might revert back to some of these topics, but I want to make sure we get everything in. A great program, Access Yes, Magic Valley Guide now available. What does that mean?
So we have a number of different individuals, landowners that have entered into agreement with Fish and Game to allow public access onto their land to hunt or hike or fish, Right. And so we just got in this last week a guide. It's an Access Yes Guide 2019, and it lists all the regions or hunting units within what we call the Magic Valley region, and it lists them by landowners, and sometimes landowners will put some restrictions on,
Sure.
They don't want overnight camping,
Sure.
or whatever, because we want to have a good working relationship with our landowners.
Well, let me ask you this. In this guide, and I've never seen it, you've got it in your hand, just brought it in the studio. I would assume that there are various information aspects about the landowner, who it is, telephone number, etc. Is that right?
Absolutely, because, again, we want hunters to have access to get out and pursue game, and it's our landowners that provide much of the habitat for doesn't matter which species of wildlife it is, and so these landowners have been very gracious and have allowed or are going to allow hunters or any recreationist to access their land.
Therein that lies a double-edged sword. Number one, if the landowners are good enough to come forward and say, yes, I'll be an Access Yes landowner, then it behooves the sportsman to make sure that they do everything possible to make sure, whether it's shutting gates, picking up their trash, whatever.
Absolutely. It's definitely goes both ways, but I would put more onus on the hunter, the person that accesses.
Yep.
Because we want to be good neighbors. We want to honor their generosity of letting us hunt on their land. So the closing of gates, litter. Every year we hear reports of people cutting down fences and things like that, and that just puts a bad black mark on all of us who hunt and fish.
If anybody is caught cutting a fence or cutting down a fence or removing a gate, are there legal ramifications that can be implied?
So I will say I'm not a conservation officer, but
I think there should be.
I'm sure there are actually. I just can't quote the law itself.
Okay.
But anytime that people are doing things on private land or to private land, private property, there are laws to protect.
Absolutely, and there should be.
Absolutely.
This is a topic. Well, I'm one ahead of myself. Hunter and big game reporting requirements. What does that mean?
So hunters are required to report their harvest. And
is it up to the hunter to find a checkpoint?
Well, this is different than a checkpoint. This is an online reporting system.
I see.
But we will. I would like to get into check stations here a little bit too. But these are reports that tell us, and they don't even have to be a report if they were successful. We want to know how much effort is being put into hunting, and also how many animals are being harvested.
Okay.
So we do.
When you say effort put into hunting, clarify that a little bit.
So and I'll use me as the classic example of, I may go out and hunt 2 days, and I don't come back with
Then you're sore and stiff, and you don't want to go out again, right?
But, and there's been more than once that I come back home and I don't have anything to show for it other than sore
Bring
muscles.
on the blue emu!
So, but that is important information for us to know, because a lot of it is, how much effort does it take to go out and harvest in terms of hunter number days or angler days, because we provide opportunity. We don't guarantee success.
Absolutely.
And so, but what we'd like to know is how much effort is being expended every year by hunters, and then we compare that to the number of animals harvested. Kind of gives us a sense on population numbers and things like that.
Gotcha. Now, let's dovetail this, unless it's later on in your list here. But I guess it is check stations. I asked the question a few minutes ago, is it up to the hunter, if he harvests an animal, to go find a check station?
My understanding, no. But if you come across the check station as a hunter or angler, even if you did not harvest, you are required to stop into the check station.
Gotcha.
We use check stations for a variety of different reasons. It's not just to check compliance, but it also, again, goes back to amount of hunter effort. And then it allows us to collect biological data on animals that are harvested. So check stations are very important to us as an agency, and I think too often they're looked at as just a way for us to try to write a ticket. That is not the intent. If there is a violation, the officers will do their work, but check stations are very important in terms of overall wildlife management.
I couldn't agree more, and I get really irate thinking about people, and we're going to talk about this a little later, but the poaching aspect of people thinking they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. They can go up and they can poach an animal and sneak by, and eventually they hope not get caught. They're hurting all sportsmen everywhere for the opportunity to be legal, buy a license, and go harvest an animal, and then keep the hunting situation growing.
Yeah, and not only that, but it gives hunters a bad name.
Oh, absolutely.
It always upsets me when we see or hear people talk and they say that a hunter poached an animal, and I go, no, that is not a hunter.
That's right.
That's a poacher.
Poacher.
Let's call it what it is.
Yep, absolutely.
And because hunters are ethical. Hunters follow the rules, and it's fair chase.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I don't mean to, but I think you probably know where I'm headed. Are the laws tough enough to really slap these people on the knuckles so that it doesn't happen again?
That's, and you did put me on the spot on that one. Laws are written by the legislature and given to the courts. Now, I probably have a personal opinion on some of those, but
here you go being political again.
But it's not the agency doesn't set fines and such. It's the court system. Through our legislature and how they enable laws and things like that. So. I think we all can point to a situation where we didn't think it was sufficient enough of a penalty, so to speak. But that's outside of the realm of the department.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about something that I don't know that much about, but I've seen pictures and seen videos, etc., and it's the chronic wasting disease. And I want to have you talk about that. I would imagine that this problem with deer, if you don't mind me just centralizing it with deer, is very important because that's an animal you don't want to harvest.
It's not. And luckily right now we don't have chronic wasting disease in Idaho. But
we did have a couple of years ago, though, didn't we? Didn't we have that problem? It came up from Utah or something. They said that it might have come over the Wasatch or whatever and affected some elk and deer. I'm just asking out of memory. I can't remember.
Well, and again, I'm going to have to pull the Alaska card here because I'm not familiar with that. But I don't believe it's ever been detected in Idaho.
Okay.
That said, it is in. It has been detected in Utah, Wyoming, and Montana.
So all around us.
It's knocking on our door. And chronic wasting disease is a disease that once it's here, you can't. There's no way to vaccinate animals, or if that was even possible.
What is the contagion factor that creates it? I mean, what is the stimulus to cause it?
So that's a great question. And I'm going to have to refer to my notes here because it's a protein that becomes misshapen in the central nervous system in the brain, and it's always fatal. It takes in deer, elk, moose about 10 months to show symptoms once they become infected.
Really?
But there's no cure for it. It is a fatal disease.
Now, is it a hereditary thing passed down from the buck and the doe to the next offspring, or how does that happen?
It's actually, it can be in the soil.
Really?
Wow. And it's long lived. We just had some training on it the other day, and one of the things they said was, from a heat standpoint, it has to be over 800 degrees to kill this prion, what they call a prion, and so once it's here, that's why it's basically impossible to cure.
Okay, let's jump ahead a little bit here before I take my break at the bottom of the hour then and answer this question about it. What happens if a hunter harvests an animal with that disease? What happens to that human if they ingest that meat?
So there's never been a confirmed transmission to humans. That said, it is not suggested or encouraged in any means to consume the meat of a deer, elk, moose that has a confirmed case of chronic wasting.
How does the hunter, let's say that it's kind of your seasonal hunter, and every year they leave their office and they go hunting for 2 weeks, and they really are not, quote-unquote, an outdoorsman 12 months out of the year. How are they going to know?
So body condition is going to be bad. The animal may drool, salivate, droopy ears, just not acting and looking like a healthy deer.
Sounds like a party on Saturday night at our college I went to.
It's so the department is actually has a pretty robust testing program, and what we do is we have to pull lymph nodes, which are part of the lymphatic system, and then the central nervous system, and those are tested. And so northern Idaho, eastern Idaho is where we're testing this year.
Why do you suppose the problem has not come into the confines of Idaho?
That is a really good question, considering that
it's all around us.
It's around us. Oregon, Washington last I knew, did not have any kind of confirmed cases. But deer, elk, moose are migratory. They could come across the border. They don't know the difference between a Montana-Idaho borderline at all. I hate to say luck, but it's probably there's some luck in there.
This problem has really been a large problem, correct me if I'm wrong, back in the middle western states like Wisconsin and Minnesota for years.
Absolutely. And so, but we are doing everything we can to monitor so that if it does come into the state, we can take immediate action. And there are plans on how we're going to deal with that.
I was going to say, what are the plans and what can be done on behalf of the Fish and Game?
And I've not read those plans yet. But the department has taken a very proactive approach so that if it does show up, these plans will be instituted. Okay. Maybe that's something to bring to the next month's show is talk about those plans because I'm not sure exactly what those measures are going to be.
When you're talking about a lifestyle of wild game animals that can't read signs, Idaho border, Montana border, I don't see what would prohibit or stop them from coming in and exacerbating the problem.
Yes, and the only way we're going to be able to know if it's here is through monitoring and testing of harvested animals. Absolutely. We also will test roadkill, that kind of thing,
too. We're visiting with Terry Thompson, Communications Director for the Idaho Fish and Game, and we're going to be back right now. I want to tell you quickly before we leave, let your house welcome you home with the perfect temperature. The iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox features remote control access, so all you got to do is just adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today and find out about Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 678-0459, or visit them online, ramseysonline.com. We're going to take a little break. Be right back in 3 minutes. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you very much and welcome back. I also want to remind you quickly about our friends at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. If you have not called seniors and checked on this, you need to. It is a beautiful 12-bedroom home with 3 meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, local transportation included, all in the rent. What a beautiful, beautiful place. I know because we've toured it. We looked at it a couple of weeks ago. It is phenomenal. Kelly and Matt Wiggins have hit a home run with Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on El Fresco Road. That's 21st Street, just 1 mile east of Walmart in Heyburn. Please call for an appointment. Take a look at it. 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living in Heyburn. Right now, I want to remind you we're on the air with the Idaho Fish and Game Report. Once a month, we gather right here at the river, and we have Terry Thompson, Communications Director for the Idaho Fish and Game. We were talking before the break about chronic wasting disease, and basically, if hunters see anything this fall, or for that matter during the hunting season, that resembles the complications that you were talking about, drooling and head down, ears back, kind of lackadaisical attitude, call the Fish and Game.
Absolutely. We need to know about that soon. It's monitoring. It's being aware of what's out there that's going to help us detect it if it comes into Idaho.
Okay.
So we need to know that. That's kind of one of those things that sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Magic Valley Hunter Education and Reservist Volunteers recognized it's more than just you as an officer of the Fish and Game that helped make the Fish and Game work, right?
Oh, absolutely. If it wasn't for volunteers, and especially, we have volunteer hunter education instructors who are amazing group of men and women in the Magic Valley and across the state who provide classes to ensure that we have safe and ethical hunters in the field, but also that we're continuing that hunting and fishing. I'll throw that into heritage in Idaho. So every year we recognize our hunter education instructors. We also have a program that's called a reservist, where we have people who do more volunteer projects than just maybe one weekend a year. They'll come out and help plant bitterbrush or something.
Right.
And so we recognized some folks the other day. Gene Wright, who lives in Burley, been a long time volunteer hunter education instructor, reservist, put in countless hours over 28 plus years of volunteering. Got recognized. He
gave him a Rolex watch, huh?
Kind of, sorta. we maybe showed him a picture of a Rolex watch, but you know, he's decided it's that time in his life he needs to take a step back, and so it was a great opportunity to thank Gene for the work he's done in the Magic Valley, and especially over here in the mini Kaza area. And so I just wanted to make sure we gave Gene a shout out over here on this side of the valley.
You gave him a gold compass so he can find his way out of the hills.
But you know, we couldn't do our hunter education program without the volunteers, and I just want to make sure that everybody that is associated with a hunter education program knows how much we appreciate them. And if you know a hunter education instructor, shake their hand, tell them thank you, give them a pat on the back.
Absolutely. You look more like you don't look like a hunter as much as you look like a fisherman, and you look like a fisherman that would go to a stream or a lake or whatever and sit down, throw the line in the water, and have the attitude of, if they want to bite, fine, let them. I'm going to sit here and enjoy an adult beverage and soak up the sun. How wrong am I?
You're pretty right on. I do hunt. I've got a long story on the hunting side because I haven't hunted for a few years. But yeah, I love to fish, and to me, it's just the opportunity to get out and be on the water.
Yeah, I'm a lazy fisherman. I was born and raised in the Midwest, and we just kind of had those little rod holders. You stick them in the dirt, and you sit back after you've got them baited and let it sit out there in the water. And my attitude was always like, I'm not going to bother you unless you bother me. Please bother me.
Yeah, yep. You know, since I just moved down from Alaska, I haven't had a lot of opportunity to get out in the field this year and do some fishing, but I got up around Fairfield, Big Smoky area a few weeks ago, had a great time, got some fishing in the Bigwood.
Was it fly fishing?
I did some fly fishing.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Are you pretty good at that?
Well, I keep the fly companies in business because I snap off my flies a lot.
I was talking to a guy the other day that said he had a great appreciation for fly fishing because he went out and tried it. And he said, not only was I so frustrated, he said, I used to play basketball, and whenever I missed, I'd hate myself. And he said, you can imagine how mad I was at myself for all the trees I got snagged and everything else.
I leave some Christmas decorations, so to speak, in the trees and brush with some flies hanging in there. So, but I love to go troll for kokanee or trout, and been known to put a worm on the end of the hook too.
So there's really, right now with this weather, I would say excellent fall fishing.
Oh, I love this time of year. A lot of times it's quieter. There's not so many people out because there's a lot more things to do. Kids back in school, but
all the more reason to go to the lake and enjoy the quiet.
Absolutely, and our water temperatures are dropping back down, and I just talked about the Bigwood River is fishing really well. We're going to be putting some nice catchables in Lake Walcott.
Yeah, I see this. That you're going to be putting some rainbows in Lake Walcott.
Yep, and rainbows are just one species of fish you can catch in Walcott.
Did they, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, well, yes, I do. You're the man, the communications director, but I had heard a rumor back in June, I believe it was, Craig was on the program, and had said that there was contemplation about putting muskies in Murtaugh Lake. Did they?
I don't know that they have.
But there's
talk about it.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's something I'll check in on when I get back in the office.
Because
today.
my neighbor, who never misses a program and makes me adhere to every word that we say on this program, cornered me and he said, "Did they put the muskies in Murtaugh Lake?" And I said, "I don't know."
Yeah, I don't know. That you can go after tiger muskie up at Dog Creek, north of Gooding.
You ever caught one?
I haven't. I want to. They're big fish.
Let me tell you, I've caught them. I'm talking about big muskies back on the Great Lakes. Mm-hmm. When you hook onto one of those babies, you better take a lunch.
Yeah. Well, Dog Creek has got, if you want to keep a tiger muskie, it's got to be 45 inches or larger.
Yeah.
That to me says there's some fun fishing opportunity.
How devastating are they, the muskies, as a population on other species?
Well, I think a lot of times we put them in when we want to reduce
the carp,
the less desirable, the non-game fish, because they're a predatory fish.
Absolutely.
And they don't get that big just by eating.
They're a
insects.
Freshwater shark, as far as I'm concerned.
You need to have your stainless steel leader on if you're going to go.
And when you land one in the boat, do not be hesitant about conking him in the head because it can be dangerous in a boat.
Well, as long as it's over 45, because that's what you need to keep a fish up in Dog Creek.
You didn't mean to shoot him with a 45, not in the boat, but anyhow.
I have heard so many good stories about people shooting fish on the bottom of their boat, and then all of a sudden going, "Oh, yeah."
Listen, I asked you about this before we started this morning, and I wasn't sure about the pronunciation because I didn't know where it was. Gavers Lagoon. What are you doing up there?
So Gavers Lagoon is right up at by Peekaboo at our Haysper hatchery, and it's a great place for families to go fish because we stock it regularly, and but it's kind of silted in over time, and because it gets such heavy use, some of the banks got beaten down. So we started draining the lagoon yesterday.
Really? That's quite a project.
It is. It's a couple acre body of water, and it's long and skinny. But we turned the water off. We're going to let it drain out, and then we're going to dredge it out, make it deeper.
Really?
Then we're going to do some rehabilitation work to the banks. So
does it have quite a bit of access for like little kids and families?
Absolutely. It's got some handicap access, fishing dock too. So it's a great place. So what we wanted to do is, now that most of the fishing season is wrapped up, is we're gonna take some time, work that pond over. I wouldn't recommend. Well, it's not going to be fishable.
How does one go about draining the lagoon and maintaining the population? I mean, do you run them through screens, filters? How do you do that?
So we have not stocked gavers since July.
I see.
And I was just up there on Sunday. There were still quite a few people hanging out, throwing a worm out in the water.
Basically, they were teaching the worm how to swim.
Yeah, and it was funny because I'd go, I shouldn't say funny, but I would go up and talk to each group and let them know that we haven't stocked it in a while, and they all knew that because they hadn't been catching a lot of fish. On this.
A lot or any?
I didn't see any on stringers, but they said they were getting some bites.
Really?
Yep. Oh. So, but we purposely did not stock it very heavily at all over the last month because we didn't want fish are expensive to raise in a hatchery.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to put fish in there that would potentially die once we drained the lagoon. So we drain it by actually turning the water off. It's spring fed. So we can divert the water.
Oh, I see.
And then at the far end, just like any other irrigation pond, it's got boards, and we just pull the boards and
I see.
And what.
So it's not a natural fish habitat.
I would say it was probably a dredged out.
Okay.
Body of water.
I got to ask you this, and then I've got to do a weather forecast. We're talking about fish hatcheries. Hagerman State Fish Hatchery, the gates will start to close and lock at sunset every day. People that want to take a tour or whatever, is that in reference to them coming down?
So historically, we've always had gates down there at the hatchery, but they've closed at 10 o'clock. We're changing that now, and it hasn't started yet, but it will soon, as soon as we get our signs changed. But they're going to start closing automatically at sunset.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's in response to vandalism and people stealing things from the hatchery.
My goodness sakes!
So we kind of we needed to do it to protect the resources of the department, and so we've had a couple instances so far where people got locked behind the gate.
Really?
So,
and don't tell me they didn't have a cell phone.
Well, I think they had to go knock on doors or call the sheriff's department, and then somebody from the hatchery has to go let them out.
I'll bet you they were happy campers.
So we just want to make sure that everybody knows as we're moving forward that that once sunset hits, that gates are going to start closing.
They go clink.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want people to be stuck behind the gate.
You better take your Twinkies with you. Okay. Hey, listen, I've got to get a weather forecast on, and the weather's brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew is 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657, or better yet, to find out all about the delicious meats, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Absolutely phenomenal. Whether it's the marinated pork ribs, they are so good, or the tri-tips, delicious, or all the different bacons, or the sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, the list goes on. Check it out today at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number again, 324-7657. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the sunshine while we have it because things are going to change. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. Expecting sunny skies and a high of 73 tonight. Showers are going to be moving in right around midnight, about a 50% chance. Winds are going to be picking up as well just a little bit. Low 44 tomorrow. Definitely rain showers, about a 70% chance, only warming up to a high of 58. Those rain showers are going to continue for tomorrow night with a low of 44. 50% chance of rain showers for Friday with a high of 58. Hopefully it's going to be clearing out a little bit for Friday night with a low of 38. Then by the weekend, sunny skies and warming up to the mid-60s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Reyes.
Thank you, Gina, and appreciate your fine work on the weather. And we also appreciate our sponsor for this hour, Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and his very, very nice, efficient staff over at 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. We're on the air with Terry Thompson, Communications Director for the Idaho Fishing Game, and I've got to scurry a little bit to get everything in. We talked briefly about Citizens Against Poaching. The number.
Yeah, that number is 1-800-632-5999. we talked a little bit earlier about poachers and things like that, and it's an impact on everybody. Hunters, when people poach, and so we can't be everywhere. Our conservation officers have huge patrol areas, and so we rely on the public's help to let us know when illegal things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Check stations we talked about, mandatory to stop if you're hunting or fishing, successful or not.
Yep. Doesn't matter if you've got a deer or did not get a deer, stop in, talk to us. You still have important information for us.
Absolutely. And when you hear the cow, it means we have a call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Couple real quick questions in succession. Terry, is antelope open? Antelope's open already, right?
Yes.
Pronghorn antelope?
Yes.
Now, has there been very many? Do those hunters have to report antelope kills as well as deer and elk?
I think they do.
Just to be on the safe side, why not say yes?
Yeah, I guess I would say yes. I am scrambling here to look at my notes, but there's a reporting online that you can do, and because antelope are probably just as important to know about as moose, deer, elk.
Okay, one more quick question I got, and then I'm a local taxidermist, and I haven't had any calls on antelope so far this year. Has the hunt been lower, or the harvest been lower, or you don't know yet, or what's the scoop on that?
So I've been, most of my report's going to come off of staff that have been out hunting. I know some of our staff in the office have harvested antelope. So, but I have heard because of all of the water out there that the animals are more scattered this fall.
I see. Oh, that's what we want to know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. And last subject that we want to talk about, general deer tags. Get them before the start of the season on October 10th.
Absolutely. It's always one of those things where we have this huge rush the day before season opens. And, the tags are on sale now. Get out, buy them. I think, so we're out of non-resident mule deer and elk. And residents have a chance to purchase those, paying the non-resident cost.
I'm glad we have a few minutes extra because I wanted to ask you some personal questions in regards to Alaska versus Idaho. And I think you're the man as far as giving us that information. You were in Alaska working for the Fish and Game, right?
I was for 18 years.
What are the biggest differences and areas of knowledge that you have to garner from being in Alaska and or coming to Idaho?
Well, Alaska's got amazing fish and wildlife resources.
Yeah.
The thing about Alaska is access is very limited. It's only because there's very few roads in the state.
Oh, I see.
So what that does is that concentrates people. I'll have to be honest. I never went moose hunting, even though Alaska residents can harvest a moose a year.
With the lack of trails, roads, etc., I would imagine that hunters up there or hunters that come from the lower 48 to go up there, they better mind their P's and Q's and literally have a compass to know where they're going. Do you have a lot of lost hunters up there during the course of the seasons?
Probably the one of the biggest things is plane crashes, honestly.
Really?
Because a lot of the bush is accessed through planes, and you don't hear so many people getting lost per se, but we lose hunters every year because of plane crashes.
Really?
And it's because it's just such remote country that really the only way to get there is through a bush plane.
Absolutely. We have a quick call. Caller, real fast. I've only got 2 minutes, real fast. And that was quick. But as far as, you're talking some of the best fishing and some of the best hunting in the world.
Yep.
And what kind of changes did you have to learn about when you came here? I mean, what are some of the big transitions you had to make?
Well, one is just reacquainting myself with laws and regulations, because things have changed a lot since I left Idaho in 2001 to go up, and I worked for the department for 10 years prior to moving to Alaska. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is there's just a lot more people in the last 20 years. Idaho's grown.
Oh, absolutely.
The thing that's encouraging is to see that hunting fishing heritage is continuing, and that people are still very passionate about getting out in the field and having an opportunity to harvest an animal or a fish.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing that on a more personal level that has really struck me is the agency, the commitment of the employees has not changed in 20 years. This is the most amazing group of people.
That's good.
And I'm honored to be part of that team.
Absolutely well stated. Thank you very much. I've got to do a commercial right now for our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We are really proud to have them on the program, and they've been here for a long, long time. And right now they're celebrating their great big, and I mean really big, fall tire sale. You'd better get in there and save money and get the best of tires for your cars, pickup, SUV, hunting trailer, camp trailer, horse trailer, whatever the case might be, because they do the right thing, and they've been doing the right thing since 1952 and supplying you with the best of tires, best of brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Don't forget, have all that checked before you go up on your hunting trip, and stop into any one of the 7 locations right here in the Magic Valley. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and of course Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and above all, service reigns supreme. Stop in and see them today. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Terry, I've enjoyed the program this morning. You did a really good job, and I appreciate it. I hope you come back next month with Craig or whoever else you want to drag along.
Absolutely. I appreciate the chance to be here, Zeb. It's always a great hour for me.
I appreciate that, sir. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the great outdoors here in the state of Idaho going into the fall. We are going to be gone tomorrow. In other words, Sharon Wilmot is going to handle the program. She is such a wonderful lady. I hope everybody will call her and share information on the various subjects. And we'll be back again next Monday right here, sitting in the saddle at Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. And, of course, our 4 key words that we live by on this program: in God we trust. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, and leave the dial right here at KBAR 1230. Zeb Bell streaming also on Zeb at the Ranch and ZebBell.com. Thank you very much. We'll see you Monday. Take care.